Welcome to SciSense, where we unwrap scientific research, because science should not be a puzzle.
Okay, Mike, I need to tell you about this absolutely mind-blowing paper that just came out. And I mean, this could literally change how we think about diabetes risk for half the world's population.
Half the world's population? That's a pretty bold claim right off the bat. What are we talking about here?
So this paper is called Genetic Regulation Across Germline and Somatic Variation on the Y Chromosome Contributes to Type 2 Diabetes. And it comes from a massive research team led by researchers at the University of Tokyo. You can see the contact emails are from U-Tokyo XEJP, and it's published in Nature Medicine. What they've discovered is that the Y chromosome, the one that makes you male, is actually playing this hidden role in who gets type 2 diabetes.
Wait, hold on. The Y chromosome, I thought that was just like the thing that determines if you're male or female. It actually affects whether you get diabetes?
Exactly, and here's the thing. For decades, scientists have basically ignored the Y chromosome in genetic studies. Think of it like this. Imagine you're trying to understand why some cars break down more than others, but you completely ignore the engine in half the cars because it's too complicated. That's essentially what we've been doing with the Y chromosome in men.
Okay, so why have scientists been ignoring it? There must be a good reason, right?
Oh, there absolutely is. The Y chromosome is like this weird genetic rebel. Unlike other chromosomes that swap DNA back and forth, kind of like trading cards between friends, the Y chromosome is passed directly from father to son with almost no changes. It's got all these repeated sequences that make it super hard to study. So scientists just left it out of their massive genetic studies. But here's what's wild. This team studied over 300,000 men across Japan and the UK to figure out what we've been missing.
300,000 people. That's enormous. So what did they actually do with all these people?
Picture this like a massive detective investigation. But instead of looking for one criminal, they're tracking two completely different types of genetic events. First, they looked at what's called haplogroups. Think of these like genetic family trees that get passed down from fathers to sons. It's like having different versions of the same car model, each with slightly different features.
Okay, genetic family trees, I can follow that. What's the second thing?
The second thing is absolutely fascinating and kind of creepy. As men age, their blood cells start randomly losing their Y chromosome. It's called LOY, loss of Y. Imagine if pages in your favorite book just started disappearing as you got older. By age 70, more than 40% of men have blood cells missing their Y chromosome entirely.
Wait, that's terrifying. Is that bad? Should I be worried about this?
Well, here's where it gets really interesting. And this is the breakthrough moment. When they analyzed all this data, they found that both of these Y chromosome changes affect diabetes risk, but in completely different ways depending on whether you're East Asian or European. In East Asian men, losing your Y chromosome actually increases diabetes risk. But in European men, it decreases diabetes risk.
That makes no sense. How can the same genetic change have opposite effects?
This is the beautiful part. It's like the same key opening different locks. The researchers figured out it comes down to how diabetes works differently in different populations. In Europeans, diabetes is mostly driven by obesity and insulin resistance. Your body stops responding to insulin properly. But in East Asians, diabetes is more about your pancreas not making enough insulin in the first place, even if you're not particularly overweight.
So it's like two completely different diseases with the same name?
Exactly. And here's the really practical part. When they added Y chromosome information to their diabetes risk predictions, they got significantly better at predicting who would actually develop the disease. Remember, this is information that's been completely missing from every diabetes risk calculator you've ever used.
Okay, but what does this actually mean for someone like my dad, who's worried about diabetes? How does this help real people?
Great question. So imagine your dad goes to the doctor, and instead of just looking at his family history and weight, they could also check his Y chromosome type and whether he's losing Y chromosomes in his blood cells. This could tell them if he's at higher or lower risk than they thought, especially if his other risk factors don't paint a clear picture. The researchers found this was particularly useful for men who had low genetic risk based on traditional factors. The Y chromosome gave them additional information that really mattered.
That's actually pretty incredible. And this works for women too somehow?
They tested it. They looked at similar changes in women's X chromosomes and found that incorporating sex chromosome changes improved diabetes prediction for both men and women. So we're not just talking about better medicine for half the population. We're talking about better precision medicine for everyone.
So what happens now? When can doctors actually start using this?
Well, the really exciting thing is that this opens up a whole new frontier in personalized medicine. We're moving from this one-size-fits-all approach to understanding that your sex chromosomes, which we thought were just about being male or female, are actually key players in complex diseases like diabetes. I think we're going to see a lot more research diving into these sex-specific genetic factors.
This is wild. Thanks for breaking that down. Who knew the Y chromosome had such secrets?
Right? Sometimes the most important discoveries are hiding in the places we forgot to look. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for listening to SciSense. Share it with a friend. See you next time.